Hello class. In this video we're really going to work a bit on the background. We're going to do something that is almost done in almost any rendering you probably see, and that's actually change out the sky. Because you might have a good photograph, but usually the sky is never as dramatic or interesting as you want it to be. In fact, I purposely chose the background image we're working with because it just has a plain blue sky and is not interesting at all. And again, feel free that almost any time you're doing a drawing, you might change the sky because maybe it's during the day. You could take a day image and make it look like a sunset, well, which can be quite dramatic. Now, I'm not saying you should do that now because we're not doing a sunset drawing in this one, but it's the basic skill that will allow you to do all these things later on. And it's pretty simple to do. Again, it's very common and it's easy to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to come down to my background layer. And actually, one of the things I like to do, it's locked. I might keep the background layer. So you could work on this layer, but I think I'm just going to duplicate the layer anyway, just to keep the background layer solid and as is. And we can see we've got the background layer copy there. Now I'm going to cut out the sky. If I'm happy with my building, I don't have to worry about the sky too much behind the building. But that said, if I really want to make sure I get the sky well cut out, I can turn off the layers that I've worked with above just temporarily by hitting the eyeballs, just so I can see the image as is, right? And then if I'm going to go and delete the sky, depending on how you're doing it, you can use any of your selection methods. I think at least in this particular image that I have, one of a good ways of doing is to use the magic wand tool, which is right here. And so again, if I click on it, it's going to get a bunch of blue. I actually have my tolerance down. That's tolerance is this number here. Yours is probably defaulted at 32. So let me click on it there and just to see what would happen. Okay, good. So you see what happens? It's going to select the color you clicked on plus similar colors. By the time I get down here, though, the sky has changed in color, which is it's good to note. I'll talk about it in other lectures, but you can see how the sky is actually always darker at the top than it is against the horizon line. And so we can see that there. So I'm going to just have to click down. I'm going to have to make sure this is set on add to selection set. And I can click down here again and we come closer. And then as we get down closer to the trees, it's always going to be, more and more difficult, but we're going to work on that in another step. But 3 clicks or so and I have enough of the sky, I can hit delete. Of course, we're not going to really see much happen because I have the image back there. But if I turn off the background layer for now, we can see I get the checkerboard pattern, which just means there's no pixels there. So that's great. It looks good enough. I can fix everything else later that might need fixing. So I'll do Control D to deselect. And once again, I'm going to go to Google Images, which is here, and I'm just going to type in sky, and there are always tons of skies that are pretty high quality, that are free and whatnot. So pick whatever sky you think looks pretty good. Some clouds, some colors, and you can go with. I haven't even pre-looked up anything here. I don't know. I just go for one up top. I think this looks pretty good. We can see the resolution is going to be high enough there. Actually, this is not going to be a JPEG, is it? Nope, it's going to be one of these files, which won't really work for me. What file am I on? So I am going to have to pick another one. I'll click on this one. Save image. This is going to be okay, I think. Yep, this is just a standard old JPEG. That's perfect. Say okay. Come back to Photoshop. Go File, Open. Open the sky. You can just do Select All or Control A and Control C for copy or edit copy. Come back to your drawing and paste in the sky. It's going to come right in the middle. You can move it off to anywhere off to the side. Now, one of the things we're going to want to do is we're going to go to your layer. Of course, name it sky is always useful, but you want to click and hold and drag it below your background, below the grass. And you're going to see why. We'll just make it, nice and big here. And we'll do Control T to set the scale. And you can come across and you can pull from the corner and you can make it large like this. But one of the interesting things about skies is you don't have to be proportional. Most things you just want to pull from the corner. That makes the width scale the same as the height scale. That means it's in proportion. Most everything you want that to happen, but skies you don't have to. One of the issues, it goes back to that color gradient. A lot of the color gradient that I want my sky is actually behind the grass right now, and I want to see that. So I want to pull up on this bottom tab, but to make sure it's not proportional, I have to hold shift on my keyboard and I can pull up. And now you can see that I get the nice blue, lighter blues down in here. The fact that I changed the proportions of the clouds don't matter because clouds come in all proportions. And so it looks just as fine. So what I really want is that gradient of color, no matter what you choose. And there we go. I've added a more interesting sky in here. Now you might want to do other things. I mean, I'm pretty happy with this, but if you wanted to make other adjustments, you can use any of these. You could go to levels, for example, which is a common one. You can either do auto levels, it'll just sort of darken it up slightly, or whatever it thinks needs to happen because your sky and your drawing might be different than mine. You can tweak it as you want. And if you're sort of happy with the levels, you can just say okay, just a few other small changes. And once you have the sky in, you can go ahead and turn on your layers again to see how it looks. I'm just going to click on one eyeball and hold on my mouse and pull down. That's the fast way of turning everything back on. And there we go. I've got a new sky set into my building. And so we'll end this video here before moving on to our next step.